Diddy caught fighting, exclusive details, no cameras, no warning, just a prison hallway where, according to multiple reports, Sean Diddy Combs allegedly got into a physical fight with another inmate, an incident that reportedly ended with him being placed in solitary confinement. But here's what makes this story so much bigger than a prison scuffle. Why did it happen? What do we actually know? And how much of what's spreading online is fact versus speculation? In this video, we're separating verified reports from internet rumors while uncovering the chain of events that led to this latest headline. Because once you understand the full timeline, this confrontation becomes just one chapter in a story that's been making headlines for years. The reported prison fight may have lasted only a few moments, but the questions it raised, they're much bigger than the altercation itself. According to multiple outlets, including ABC News, NBC News, and People, the incident happened inside the Federal Correctional Institution at Fort Dix, New Jersey, where Sean Diddy Combs is currently serving a 50-month federal prison sentence. Now, here's where things reportedly took a turn. Sources familiar with the matter say another inmate allegedly made a remark toward Combs. At first, it was just words, but within moments, the exchange reportedly escalated into a physical confrontation. Correctional officers quickly stepped in, separating the two men before the situation could get any worse. Now, if you've been scrolling through social media, you've probably seen dozens of posts claiming they know exactly what happened. The truth? They don't. Because despite all the headlines, almost everything people believe they know comes from unnamed sources. The Federal Bureau of Prisons has refused to discuss the incident, explaining that it doesn't comment on disciplinary matters involving individual inmates due to privacy and security policies. So, as of now, no official report has revealed what was actually said. No one has confirmed who threw the first punch, and nobody has explained exactly how serious the altercation really was. What has been consistently reported is this: the fight was broken up quickly, and afterwards, Combs was reportedly placed in solitary confinement while prison officials handled the situation. Whether that placement is temporary or part of a longer disciplinary process, that still hasn't been confirmed. Now think about this for a second. For most inmates, a brief prison altercation barely makes the news. But this isn't just any inmate. This is Sean Diddy Combs, a man who spent decades at the very top of the music industry, the founder of Bad Boy Records, a producer, a businessman, a cultural icon, someone who's lived under the spotlight for almost his entire adult life. And Prison doesn't care about celebrity status. In fact, being famous can sometimes make life even more complicated. It makes you more recognizable, more talked about, and sometimes more vulnerable. That's one reason stories like this spread so quickly. People immediately start asking, was he targeted because of who he is? Did his celebrity status play a role? Or was this simply an ordinary prison dispute involving an extraordinarily famous inmate? Right now, there's no verified evidence to support any of those theories. The confirmed facts remain surprisingly limited. There was a reported confrontation, correctional officers intervened, and Combs was reportedly placed in solitary confinement afterwards. That's it? Everything else? At least for now, is speculation. Another question everyone keeps asking is, could this affect his sentence? The honest answer, nobody knows. Federal prison disciplinary actions can sometimes influence inmate privileges or other aspects of incarceration, but officials haven't said whether this particular incident will have any impact on Combs' projected release date. As of the latest reports, his expected release remains in February 2028. And importantly, authorities have not linked that timeline to this reported altercation. Which brings us back to the biggest problem with stories like this. The internet moves fast, sometimes too fast. Within hours, rumors become headlines, headlines become assumptions, and assumptions start sounding like facts. But when you strip away the speculation, the confirmed timeline is actually very simple. There was a reported fight, officers stepped in, and Diddy was reportedly moved into solitary confinement. Everything beyond that is still being pieced together. But believe it or not, this prison incident is only the latest chapters in a story that's been building for years. Because to understand why every single development involving Diddy dominates headlines, you have to go back long before the prison walls, back to the investigations, the lawsuits, the federal raids, and the courtroom battle that completely changed the life of one of hip-hop's biggest names. And that's where this story becomes even more unbelievable. When stories like this make headlines, it's easy to get caught up in the drama, a prison fight, a celebrity. Endless speculation. It's the kind of story the internet loves. But if there's one thing this case reminds us, it's that the loudest version of a story isn't always the most accurate one. Right now, there are still plenty of unanswered questions. What exactly triggered the confrontation? Was it a spontaneous argument or something that had been building for days? And will prison officials ever reveal what actually happened? At this point, we simply don't know. What we do know is that Sean Diddy Combs is no longer living the life that once defined him. Not long ago, he was attending award shows, launching business ventures, working with some of the biggest names in music, living in multi-million-dollar homes, traveling on private jets, and controlling an entertainment empire. Today, his world couldn't look more different. Instead of red carpets, it's prison corridors. Instead of boardroom meetings, it's prison regulations. Instead of controlling the headlines, he's become the subject of them. Whether you admire him, criticize him, or simply followed his career over the years, there's no denying how dramatic this transformation has been. And perhaps that's why every new development captures so much attention, not just because it's Diddy, but because it shows how quickly life can change. One moment, you're one of the most powerful people in your industry. The next, you're facing consequences that no amount of fame or fortune can erase. It's also a reminder to be careful about what we choose to believe online. Within minutes of this story breaking, social media was flooded with theories. Some claimed they knew exactly what happened. Others insisted they had inside information. But until facts are confirmed, those claims remain exactly what they are. Claims. In today's world, the truth often arrives much more slowly than the rumors. That's why separating verified information from speculation matters more than ever, because once misinformation spreads, it's incredibly difficult to pull it back. As this story continues to develop, there may be new reports, new statements, or new details released by reliable sources. If that happens, the picture could become much clearer. Until then, the reported prison altercation remains just one piece of a much larger story, one that has reshaped the legacy of one of hip-hop's most influential figures. Whether this incident ends up being remembered as a minor prison dispute or another significant chapter in Diddy's legal journey, only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the world will be watching every step, and as always, we'll focus on the facts, not the rumors, because in stories like this, the truth is usually far more interesting than the speculation. Before you go, here's something to think about. Do you believe celebrity status makes prison life even more complicated? Or do you think once those prison doors close, everyone is treated exactly the same? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd genuinely love to hear where you stand on this. And if you enjoy deep dives that separate facts from internet fiction, make sure you stay part of the conversation. Stuber, turn on notifications, and come back for the stories everyone is talking about. Explained with context, not clickbait. Because the next headline might tell you what happened, but will help you understand why it happened.